Well, I think the most powerful democratic nations and the most vociferous advocates of democracy are the biggest culprits when it comes to climate change and its effect. So I think democracy can change it, and it already has, but for the worse and not for the better.
We cannot solve it. We can see that today. I mean, most of the world would be described as democracies, the states, the nations in the world.
62% of humanity live under multi-party electoral systems.
And that is obviously not enough.
On the other hand, there's no other way. It's going to come from the bottom up. The people who are in charge at the moment are pretending they're doing things, but not doing them.
I don't think people believe it, in general, and I think we're not making them believe it.
It's very, very difficult to convince people to act in the long term when they've got all these short-term problems. You know, what am I going to feed my baby? You know, if you live in Africa.
Well, I think generally people are fed up.
There are a few big failings with democracy. One of them is that it probably can't solve our biggest problem, climate change. And the reason for that is that most politicians, however well-meaning they may be, are preoccupied almost entirely with being re-elected. They want to stay in power.
And actually, climate change is about the preferences and the interests of future voters who aren't even born yet.
Well, these politicians can't solve climate change because they're the representatives of the people who are destroying the environment.
And to prevent climate change happening, some pretty unpopular things have to be done. And politicians don't like doing unpopular things.
The companies that pay for a lot of these parties would lose a lot of money if that happened, so...
Passing laws, stop it, might hurt their businesses.
You must never leave politics to politicians.
The way it looks today with, you know, one extreme military dictatorships here and Western democracies on the other side and all the shades in between.
National democracy will not be able to solve this problem.
The most important thing is we have a world government, and then we can find a decision to say we can solve this problem. But at the moment we couldn't. So in terms of discretion, perhaps I can say, perhaps dictator could solve this problem.
A gente vai precisar de ditador realmente para parar tudo, para poder a Terra voltar do jeito que era.
I need to believe, or I'd like to believe that there is a chance, because there's no other way around.
Yes, democracy is the only way to deal with climate change and all other political challenges.
It can help, it can play its part.
The problem is who else will do it. The New Age ideologists and so on are too much caught in their own myth, they will not do it.
There are some dictators that can play their part.
Democracy is also to defend nature.
I'd just done a Man's Wear show in Milan, and this young man came up to me and said,
and now we are raping the nature.
What should guys buy next year?
For nonsense consumery.
And I said, we should buy nothing. That'd be a good idea.
Some people also say not our usual corrupted democracy, but every one of us should change and so on.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't consume. I'm saying they shouldn't consume crap. It is a matter of personal morality. It sounds pompous, but it is a matter of personal morality.
That's again a utopia. Somebody has to give a push.
The climate changes cannot be solved on an individual level.
If an individual could do it, I would have done it.
And you can't give the responsibility to the big corporations.
If an organisation could do it, I would have made the organisation.
In one way, you can say that the only solution to climate change is democracy.
If for no other reason, because in a democracy at least we can be informed.
In democracy, public opinion counts.
It's been a watershed of change in attitudes, and the democratic world is on the move.
E os democráticos, né, leva a todo mundo que são classes sociais iguais, então levam a religião para as pessoas terem mais fé, que a fé remove a montanha.
Climate change is something that this world is going to solve, definitely, but it's going to take
decades to do rather than a few years to do.
So, we have to deal with this democratic political process. It's maybe the worst possible to solve the climate change, but unfortunately all other options are even worse.
What democracy can do by backfiring, and that's the danger of it, is the corporate media that wants a global tax can brainwash the public to push to end man-made climate change, the great crisis, and push for a global tax. It'll do nothing to even fix the problem if you believe, you know, the preface. But hey, it'll give the corporations even more control, so c'est la vie. Must be good.
Maybe.